Aircrafts come in different shapes, sizes, and there are different mechanisms of how they get airborne. So in this video, I'm going to define what an aircraft is and how are they categorized, and I'll also give you examples of aircrafts. So if you are ready, fasten those seatbelts because we are ready for takeoff. What's up fellow aviators, and welcome back to the FlyTuber, flying simplified through YouTube. My name is Ali Asghar, and on this channel I talk about interesting aviation facts and aircraft knowledge. So if you are an aviation enthusiast and are interested to know more about aircrafts and flying, consider subscribing. So what is an aircraft? Well, the definition of the aircraft is that it's any vehicle that can get airborne by gaining support from the air which is surrounding it. Basically, it can counter Earth's gravitational pull and get airborne by reactions with the air surrounding it, etc. It can just produce lift and get airborne somehow. Let's talk quickly about the classification or categorization of aircraft. I'll run through it very quick because there are important aircrafts to talk about later on. So aircrafts are classified mainly into two main parts, which is lighter than air aircraft and heavier than air. Lighter than air are given the name because they get airborne, basically because they contain gases that are lighter than the air in our environment. Gases like hydrogen or helium are fed into these vehicles, and these vehicles get airborne, or these aircrafts get airborne. Have you ever tried pushing a football or a balloon into a tub of water or maybe in a swimming pool? If you have, you might know that it won't go in. Similar is the case with lighter than air aircraft. The air surrounding the vehicle is very heavy and the air inside the vehicle is very light, thus taking the aircraft airborne. Now the example of lighter than air aircraft are airships, which are discontinued and no more flying, but a latest example which you guys might know and are flying in these days as well is a hot air balloon. Now the next type of aircraft is heavier than air aircraft, and it is named so because it's just like opposite of lighter than air. Anyways, these do not contain such gases, rather they fly because they have certain reactions or somehow they get lift, they generate lift reacting with the air surrounding it and they get airborne. Now the two main subclassifications under heavier than air aircraft are non-powered and powered aircrafts. Examples of non-powered are gliders or kites. Did you know that even a kite is an aircraft because it fits into the definition? And most of the aircrafts that are out there come under power-driven heavier than air aircraft. The subclassification under power-driven is land aircrafts, sea vehicles, and amphibians. Now the name themselves are self-explanatory. Land aircrafts are those that take off and land on land, which is a runway. Seaplanes or float planes, as they are also called, are those aircrafts that take off and land on water. I'll put the picture somewhere here. And the third type is the amphibians, and if you have studied what an amphibian is in your science in your school, amphibians are those that can take off and land pretty much even on water and on land as well. These aircrafts can do this because they have landing gears or tires that can retract and go inside, and they can land on water, and if the landing gears are down, they can land on the land. So probably I'll talk in much detail and give more examples about all these other types of aircrafts maybe later on or in a later video. But today let's stick to and let's talk about the main type of aircraft. Most aircrafts out there are of this type, which is power driven heavier than air land aircraft. But before we continue, if you are finding value and information out of this video, hit that thumbs up button. Okay, so let's talk about most of the aircrafts out there, what are their types, and I'll also give you certain examples. So the first up is an ultralight aircraft, which is a very small vehicle. It's even smaller and lighter than a two-wheeler, I must say. It just has a wing and 3 tires, 1 seat and 1 propeller behind, and it can take you up in the air. It's just for fun rides and sightseeing, for example. That's it. So the next up is something serious, which is training aircrafts. These aircrafts are basically of 2 types, which is a single engine and a multi-engine, or rather I should call it a twin engine, because most of the training aircrafts are twin engine only. And again, they have further variants within these, such as retractable or fixed landing gear. So a Cessna 172 or a 152, for example, has a tricycle fixed landing gear, and Diamond DA-42, for example, has a retractable landing gear which can go in and out. So the examples of these training aircrafts are like a specified Cessna 152 or 172, or in multi-engine aircraft, the examples are Diamond DA-42 or Piper PA-34 Seneca. Now the next type of aircrafts are turboprop or turbopropeller aircrafts. Now both this type and the training aircrafts which I specified, they both have propellers which drive them forward and get them airborne, but the difference between them is the propeller in the training aircrafts are driven by piston engines, while the propellers in the turboprop aircraft is driven by a turbine engine. Now the best and most common example I can give you is an ATR 72-600 or a Beechcraft King Air B-600 aircraft. I'll put the photo somewhere here. And in the military category, the best example I can give of a turboprop aircraft is a Lockheed C-130 Hercules. Now the next type is small business jets. This type is owned by multi-millionaires or billionaires, very rich and wealthy people. They use these aircraft for personal and private use. Now the examples of a business jet are a Cessna Citation, a Learjet 23 or a Grumman Gulfstream 2. Now moving on to the next and very important type, which is big jet airliners. There are two main players and the biggest manufacturers of this type of aircraft. They are Airbus and Boeing. I'm sure many of you might have already heard or known about these manufacturers. Airliners are mainly classified under two types. First is a narrow body or a single aisle aircraft. Now aisle is nothing but just that empty space in between the seats which is used for walking along the length of the aircraft. So these narrow body aircrafts have only one aisle, and the most produced aircrafts and the most competitive are obviously Airbus A320 and Boeing 737. These aircrafts really compete a lot. And other examples are A320 variants like A319 or A321, and Boeing also produces Boeing 727, 757. These are good examples of narrow body aircrafts. Now the next type is wide body or twin aisle aircrafts. As you might have guessed, twin aisle meaning it has two aisles in it, and the best examples I can give you is an Airbus A380 or a Boeing 747, although Boeing 747 was the first wide body aircraft ever in the history. And other good examples of wide body aircraft which are flying in air these days are Airbus A330, Airbus A350, Boeing 777 and a Boeing 787. So there you have it, the types of aircraft and their examples. If you think that I have missed any particular type of aircraft, because aircrafts can also be classified on the basis of other things like their weight, etc. If you know other types which I may have missed, you can comment that below. I'm obviously going to make a video later on wherein aircrafts are classified on different other bases. But let's have a look at the question of the day. Question of the day: apart from the above examples that I specified, which is the one aircraft that you know about? Comment below the name of the aircraft, and if you also happen to know, then also comment the type of that aircraft. If you feel that the video was informative and helpful, do share it with your friends so that more people can gain knowledge with this video. That's it for today's video. I'll see you over in the upcoming one. Until then, happy landings.